You. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Inked NBA podcast, episode 15. Coming in strong again, 2022, with a crazy guest, Ty Young. I told y'all 2022 we were not playing around. Ty Young was our first WNBA guest. She is literally probably one of the first three ladies in the WNBA to go out and really embrace tattoo culture and go crazy with it. So shout out Ty. This conversation was fucking dope. If you've been following for a while, you've seen her tattoos. We post her all the time. She's an absolute legend. And then I wanted to touch on the week in tattoos quick. We saw Gary Payton II go out and get that Davy Jones tattoo with Steve Wybe, which is his first piece with Steve. So hopefully they keep working, because I mean, if you haven't seen that yet, that fucking piece is nuts. That's probably my favorite piece of the year in a whole, not like 2022, like the year of tattoos. That's probably my favorite piece I've seen so far. But back to the episode. Ty Young, absolute legend. First WNBA player. Let me know if you guys want to hear more from, like, whether it's an overseas hooper or WNBA player, and just get a different kind of perspective on things when it comes to the whole Ty game. Ty was awesome, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode as much as I did. Sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 15. What's up, guys? This is your host, Matt Mangano. Make sure to follow, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. And we also have a YouTube channel, so head over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Inked NBA podcast. We are joined by an absolute legend today. Ty Young, what is going on? How are you?
What up? All is well. Just spending a little holiday time with my family and here with you guys.
Hell yeah. That's what it's all about. I am so excited to be having this conversation. You are like the person when it comes to tattoos in basketball in general. I think you're on the Mount Rushmore for basketball tattoos. You've been tatted up for forever. I was going back and I was looking for some pictures, and I mean, it seems like you've been tatted since you came out the womb. Like, I can't find any pictures without tats. So when did you first start getting tattooed?
So I first started, I was a freshman in college. So I wanted tattoos in high school, but my mother wasn't having it. So when I went to college, obviously I was old enough, but I still got them in places where I could hide them from my parents. So I wouldn't have to, hear her complain about it. But then after I was drafted to the WNBA and I had like a couple years in the league, that's when I started getting them more visible places.
Mm-hmm. So the first tattoos that you did go get, were you able to hide them? Because I know I kind of had the same experience where it was like, my mom was like, nah, you can't go. And I know a lot of people have that same thing. Were you able to like keep them away from her seeing them, or how did that whole situation go?
Yeah, so the first tattoo I got was my siblings' initials and mine as well on my stomach, on my side. Mm-hmm. And then the others I got like on my back or my thigh area. So I was always able to hide them because they wasn't, visible at all.
Mm-hmm. And there was never, so when you first, let's say, showed your mom your tattoos, or just had a first tattoo in a visible spot, what was kind of her reaction, and how did she go about like handling that?
She was disappointed, but my mother knows me, so she knows when I ask something, like when I asked her the first time and she's like, no, not in my house. She knew eventually that I would do it. And I wasn't in her home anymore. So she knew that she couldn't really tell me no. But she was just like, why would you do that? Why would you mark up your body?
Yeah. So for you, what kind of got you into it? You said in high school, like, you wanted to get tats. What really drew your interest towards tattoos?
I've always had like a artsy and creative type of mindset. And I just always saw other people with them where I admired them. I just liked the way they looked. And so I just wanted one. I didn't get really into them as I am now, until like I said, a few years after I was in the league. But before, it was just because it was cool and I liked how it looked. But I always wanted to get tattoos that meant something to me. So I didn't want to just get a tattoo just to get one, as, a lot of people were doing. It was like a trend or the cool thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And so the first like place you go to get a tattoo, did you like go with friends? You go with like your sister? Like how did that whole situation happen with going to get your first tattoo?
So I went with my best friend in college. It was a couple of us from our basketball team that went and got tattoos, and my best friend was on the basketball team as well. So we both went and got tattoos.
And how was that experience? Was it like compared to what you know now as a person that, you're getting tattooed by some of the best artists in the world, getting that great like treatment, getting tattooed and all that versus like your first time going into a shop and kind of just going for it? What was the difference between just like the experience and how you felt going in?
So the first time I was nervous. I didn't know exactly what I wanted. I didn't know how it would feel. So I was kind of scared. I didn't want to get anything too big, just because I didn't know how the pain, how it would feel.
Hmm.
And I knew my mindset. I was like, okay, if I'm getting a first tattoo and I know my mother is against it, let me get something with some meaning behind it.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, I'll give me and my siblings initials.
Hmm.
Then after I felt the pain from it, um, the more tattoos I got, the more understanding I had for it, like where the shading, how the shading feels, how the outline feels, the timing and what I should do to calm myself down when I'm getting a tattoo
Hmm.
as far as dealing with the pain. And then later it was just more about the art and the look, whereas I didn't really think much about the pain. It was like, I want this tattoo, I'm going to get it, and it doesn't matter if it hurts or not. But it became a point where you try to find, like you said, great artists because
Hmm.
it's permanent for the most part. It's on your body. I don't want tattoos that, look crazy or look bad. So as I got older, I became more in tune with having a great artist that can actually create something nice for me.
And so talk to me about, or what advice can you give people to, you were saying like to kind of calm yourself down or just things you do while getting tattooed. What advice would you give people that are like nervous and going in and getting their first tattoo?
Um, I guess it just depends on the person's pain tolerance. But for me, I used to always like clench my hands together like this to deal with the
Hmm.
pain. And I would do like slow breathing,
Hmm.
to keep me down so I wouldn't get too anxious or start having anxiety because I can get anxiety from different things. So my main thing was breathing, how I breathe while I'm getting the tattoo. I mean, certain areas hurt worse than others for sure.
Hmm.
So, and then it was times where I was able to use numbing cream, but that's like years later. I probably used numbing cream like a few years ago for the first time, but
Hmm.
all before I didn't.
So what was your most painful spot, would you say?
Oh, my ribs. Most
Really?
definitely my ribs. Yes.
And then, so were the ribs the spot that you used the numbing cream on or no?
Oh, most definitely. So the
Yeah.
first time I went for my first section, because I got a koi fish on my rib. So the first
Hmm.
session, I didn't use the numbing cream. And it hurt so bad. My tattoo artist was the one that suggested the numbing cream because I had no
Hmm.
idea about numbing cream. And so he suggested it and we used it. And I was like, wow, why haven't I been using this the
Using this the
entire
whole
time?
time. Yeah. So talk to me about how you go about kind of finding your next piece or how you get the influence to kind of get new pieces because you're someone, you are like super covered. So for you, how does your brain kind of work when you're going in and thinking about, filling a certain spot or getting a new piece? Just how does that all work with you?
So honestly, I am a spontaneous person, but I'm like on the spot. When I want something, I want it right then. And it's random, like I would think of a piece and I used to can just go to the tattoo parlor and get it, that same day. But
Hmm.
now it's like everyone's booked up, like I
Yeah.
hit my tattoo guy the other day because I wanted to get a piece and he's booked until like March. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
it's
Damn.
October. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So now I really have time to think of what I want, but I find myself I do better almost like in crunch time, like when this is spare of the moment and I think of a piece, it's like that's when I want it. So
Hmm.
I just randomly think of things that I like or that mean something to me, or I can be going through something. Like one of the pieces I have, through adversity I shall overcome. It was during a tough time in 2009 when I was dealing with a lot through basketball. And
Hmm.
so, one day I was just sitting in my apartment and I was like, through adversity, I shall overcome. I thought of it and then I said, I want to get that tattooed on me. So that's how I come about with getting my tattoos.
Very cool. So when you were growing up and so going through then in high school and being then in college, who were kind of your main influences or people you like looked at and were like, damn, like, they got some dope tattoos or just really drew your interest into it?
So there wasn't anyone that really drew my interest into tattoos. Like I admired people from other areas, like, fashion or
Hmm.
sneakers or sports. But for tattoos, there wasn't anyone growing up that I really looked up to or that I admired their tattoos and wanted to create from. Um, I would see people, with tattoos just randomly, and I would want to get a piece of art, but there's not someone that I could think of that like influenced me. Like, oh, I like their tattoos. I want to get tatted.
Okay.
I think I see more people now, not like now in this moment, but maybe like a few years ago or so. It's like it became more of a trend because, like I said,
Yep.
now I can't even go to get a tattoo. Like two of my main guys are always booked up where it didn't used to be like that. It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
could squeeze you in a couple of days, if that, or I could go the same day. Now it's months that I have to wait to get a tattoo piece unless someone cancels.
Well, I think like you talk about that, the tattoo culture, we're seeing it progress so much. I think you're, one of the pioneers when it comes to just tattoos and kind of making them cool, making them mainstream in the WNBA especially, and just in the basketball world in general. So talk to me about that. When you come into the league, right? There's not too many people with tattoos in the WNBA at that time. And
Mhm.
then as it progresses, our people are kind of, girls coming on the team and being like, damn, like, OG here has mad tattoos. Like I'm trying to get tatted. Like, do
Mhm.
you go then and become that influence for the younger girls on the team?
I believe, I am an influence. Even, people might not say anything. Like people compliment my tattoos. And I see more people now, like they'll get a tattoo that I have and they'll tag me and say, I inspired them. But like you said, when I was first coming into the league, it wasn't a lot of people. And then it was
Hmm.
like after, I got a sleeve, you start seeing other people getting sleeves. I got my leg sleeve. You start seeing other girls getting leg sleeves
Yep.
now. Um, Simone Augustus was one that always, had tattoos. Cappy Pondexter, those are two that I remember, in the league that, always had tattoos. But like you said, it's a lot of younger ones that came after that you see started getting more tattoos later.
Hmm.
And I think, of course, I had some influence to do with that for sure.
Of course. So I want to talk to you about one of your pieces that you have. I want to start getting into specific pieces. The Believe in Yourself tattoo that you have on your arm. You were
Mhm.
saying like people have tagged you and stuff. I've seen people get that tattoo and tag me and see. I've seen a bunch of people kind of go out and copy you with that tattoo. Talk to me about how you came up with that idea, that little like tattoo, that phrase right there, and what does it mean to you when you see someone kind of be like, Ty really inspired me to go do something like this.
Um, just things that I went through in life. Um, and having to have strength to believe in myself is just always a word that always, meant something to me. And the piece, it's like I write things down. And so,
Hmm.
writing it down and just looking at it, it's like, oh, this would be dope with this type of color scheme. The BU stands out and then the believe in yourself. When I see other people with it, I love it. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing, that you influence people, but it's another when people give you credit for it. Like, hey, yo,
Yeah.
that's a dope tattoo. Do you mind if I copy it? Or they just get it and they be like inspired by Ty. I'm big on, giving people their credit for things. So when people do that, I love it. I appreciate it because you acknowledge that, I actually did inspire you. Because there are a lot of people that you may inspire or that you have some type of influence on and they don't say anything about it.
Yeah. No, for sure. And when you see the credit given, I know whenever I post you, the comments always show love. Everyone always, supports your tattoos and always talks about how like crazy they are and the meanings behind them and stuff like that. Personally, one of my favorite pieces is the lion you have on your leg, like looking into the mirror. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, we'll shoot up a picture on the video. But talk to me about that tattoo. How did you come up with that idea? Because I think that tattoo is so cool.
So it was actually the picture was on a paper that we had in chapel, in which through the WNBA, our chaplain, Miss Dorothy, when I was in Chicago, had it on a piece of paper. And my teammates, Courtney Vandersloot, who now she still plays with Chicago, she's like, "Yo, T Young, this would be a dope tattoo. You should get this." And
Yeah.
so I made a bet with her. I was like, "All right, if we win this game, I'll get this tattoo." And so we
Oh
won the game.
shit.
We were playing the Atlanta Dream, and so I got the tattoo.
And so was that so during the season you went out and you got it like
Yeah.
that week? Really?
Well, no, not that week. I had to make an appointment because we were in season and I was playing in Chicago, but my tattoo artist was here in Atlanta. So I had to wait until I was able to come back to Atlanta to get the tattoo.
That's dope. So
Yeah.
what's your kind of longest session you've had, or like a just a session that stays with you that you remember?
Probably when I did my upper arm sleeve with my grandmother. I think that session was like 8 or 9 hours.
Shit.
Yeah, and it covered like my whole upper part and like part of my shoulder.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then on that same arm, that's where you have the heart tattooed, right?
Yes, on the back of my arm. Yes.
So you're a person, you have black and gray tattoos, and then you have color in that heart. So what made you kind of go out and get color? Because I know a lot of people, are always scared to either do color or want to stay straight color or want to stay straight black and gray. What made you go and have that piece colored in?
I actually love color tattoos. I just think it depends on the skin tone, and the actual tattoo that you're getting. Because it was a heart piece, I felt that it would look better, in color. And my tattoo artist, of course, I always ask if I'm torn, with if I want to do black or if I should do color. I ask them because they are the artists at the end of the day. And he suggested that the color would be dope. And so that's what made me get the color for that.
So another piece that you have that kind of stands out to me is your Whitney Houston portrait you have on the back of your leg. Talk to me about that. Why did you get that? What did Whitney Houston kind of mean to you, or just did you like her music? Like what? Talk to me about that.
So my mother was a big Whitney Houston friend while I was growing up. So she always played her music. So I was always, fond of her music. As I got older and started just following her myself and seeing the documentaries on her, I just admired her even more. I was able, at an older age to understand more things that she went through, that she dealt with. And I felt a lot of the things that she went through, I felt myself. And I just felt like a real connection with her as a role model and somebody that I looked up to. And after seeing like the different documentaries, it made me want to get a portrait of her because that's just how much, I really admired her and like who she was.
That's super cool. And that piece, that's on the back of your leg, along with, then you have a diamond right on like the inside of your knee, kind of.
Yes.
What was the pain level on that one? Because I mean, that spot just seems like it's got to be like bad.
It was so bad. That was another spot where he added number cream later. So during part of the session, it was good because I didn't feel anything. But later, after the number cream wore off, and we were done tattooing, the pain was so bad. Like just that spot itself, because you're always moving your leg, is right where you keep bending. It was bad. So that was probably my second worst spot.
Yeah. And then how's the healing process on something like that? Like, I can't even imagine. That's got to be like, when a tack gets like itchy or something, or it starts peeling, you got to like not touch it. When it's in a spot that's like constantly moving like that, like how annoying is that to have like just in that spot, or how hard was that healing process?
So it wasn't too complicated. I rested for a couple of days, but it was like after I had workouts, I make sure I have nothing on it and I will just lay down to kind of let it heal. But I will also want to move to get some blood flowing. So, like as you get more tattoos, you kind of understand what it takes for the healing process and what it takes for them to stay like fresh. Because a lot of times you see people tattoos, they start fading, they don't really take care of them properly. So
Hmm.
I just had enough experience with tattoos that I was able to know what to do to keep it fresh. Because that
And
spot very well mess the tattoo up because you're always normally, bending it.
yeah. And do you look to get your tattoo? Like, have you ever gotten tattooed in season? And then if not, do you look to get your tattoos kind of in the off season, or just when times when you know, like, you're not going to be working out too hard so you can let it heal?
So honestly, I would get tattoos whenever. I got
Hmm.
tattoos in season all the time. And like after my workouts, probably be in the gym 2 or 3 hours. Then after that, I would go home, clean it, and just let it breathe. Like I wouldn't
Hmm.
have anything on it. I would just let it air out and breathe. So it didn't matter
So
to me whether I was in season or not to get tattoos.
for you, whenever I talk to guys on here and we talk to the hoopers, when they get tattoos sort of in like those taboo spots, whether it's like the neck, the hand, stuff like that. When we spoke to Willie Cauley-Stein, he told us about how like he kind of felt, like a little shade was being thrown at him like in the league from kind of higher ups. As a female hooper in the league, when you first came in, there wasn't a lot of girls with tats. So was there ever a time where you kind of felt like people were looking at you different or kind of like throwing shade because of your tattoos and because of the way you express yourself?
Um, I don't feel that way. Of course, there could have been people that had something to say or looked at me differently from it, but I don't feel it. Like I never felt that way with people with shade or looking at me differently. Honestly, when I first started and like I had this sleeve, this was my first sleeve. I didn't have anything on this arm. I wore an arm sleeve.
Okay.
So a lot that stood out. I never really had tats on my neck. I had a small tat on my hand. So a lot of times most of my tats were covered
Hmm.
until like later in my career. And then at that point I was a veteran. And I still didn't feel any shade or any type of way from other people. But honestly, I never really looked for it because I've always been true to myself. I never really cared what other people thought. For me, it's like
Hmm.
as long as I'm doing my job and I'm a respectable person, like what can you say to me?
Exactly. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So for you, you talk about how you wore the arm sleeve and stuff. You're like super into fashion as well, and you're one of the best dressed in the basketball world. As long
Thank you.
as with, of course, as with like having some of the best tattoos in the basketball world too. So when you go out on the court, did that ever go past your mind, like, oh, you got a new piece kind of on your right arm, and you're like, oh, I don't want to wear the shooting sleeve today. Like I'm trying to show off my new ink. Like, did that ever run through your mind?
Oh, definitely. So it was always moments where it's like, okay, I want to show off my new tattoo, but I don't want to get it scratched up.
Yeah.
So it was difficult, I would probably wait a couple days or so before I would show it. But there were times where I would like snatch off my arm sleeve because I do want to show my tattoo.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and a lot of times the main reason I was covering it was because of my mother. She didn't like
Yeah.
it. And so I just did it for that. But as I got, more tattoos, I'm like, hey, I'm paying for this art on my body and I want to show it off. So for sure.
And so has she come around? Has it been kind of like a full circle thing? Like is mom into the tattoos?
She's definitely not into him, but she doesn't like she.
Okay, so she kind of just lets you rock, like do your
Yeah,
own thing.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm assuming mom has no tattoos.
None whatsoever.
And mom's never gonna get a tattoo, you don't think?
Never.
No.
Mom's never had a drink. So mom definitely is never getting a tattoo.
No, yeah, no way. So are you or are you like do you pay attention kind of to the tattoo culture that's happening right now in the basketball world? Like do you look at some of the guys in the NBA, some of the girls in WNBA, overseas hoopers, and do you kind of like take notice and see like the movement that's happening?
Well, I'm not much of a movement, but if someone has like tattoos, then I do notice it.
Hmm. And is there any people that come to mind like now that are in the league that you think like, oh, like they have some doping?
For sure. Men or women?
Both.
Um, okay, for women, Piff, which is one of my great friends,
Mm-hmm.
she has some dope work. Like she's been getting like her sleeve on her arm and her leg lately. Some guy in New York does her tattoos, and the work is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you should definitely check her tattoos out. I know y'all posted Courtney. She had the dope artwork, cartoon work on her leg.
Yep.
Um, Cappy, of course. Um, I forget it's a girl. I forget her name. I can't think right now. But she used to play with Chicago. She had a dope arm piece as well. And like I said, Simone Augustus,
Mm-hmm.
dope tattoos. As far as the guys, Jason Tatum has some great art pieces. Um, Zoe has some great art pieces as well.
For sure.
Um, it's a lot of guys that y'all post that even that I've seen that I can't think right now, but has great
Mm-hmm.
art pieces.
And are
Oh,
you just gonna go ahead?
what's the I want to call him Tsunami Poppy from his Instagram, but
Oh,
what's his
Kelly
name?
Oubre. Kelly
Yeah,
Oubre.
Kelly. Yeah, he got some
Yeah,
dope
yeah.
stuff there.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So does it like hit you the kind of that because this is how from an outside like looking in as like someone that's like looking at tattoos all the time. I see you kind of as the Allen Iverson of the WNBA. I see you as the person that went out because with your style and with the tattoo sense, I feel like you went in and you, like you said, you stayed true to yourself and you were like, you know what, fuck what anyone else is saying or doing.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing. Does that ever like just go past your mind and you're sitting there and it's just like, damn, like that's me? Like does that ever come by you?
Well, it's funny because so many people has like made that a thing. Like even before like Lead Fix or whatever started posting WNBA players for fashion, people will always say just like from my braids when I was getting like crazy designs and like, yo, you're like
Mm-hmm.
AI. And then when they started posting us more, like showing our fashion, because I've always been into fashion anyway, um, they would say that as well. And it's funny because, you know, he got so much heat for his fashion. And it was
Yep.
like my last year in Vegas, I started getting heat too. Like my coach was, you know, saying stuff like, oh, you know, you care about your fashion or you're on the front of fashion blogs, but you're coming off the bench type situation. I'm like, what does my fashion have to do
Yeah.
with anything? Like I'm coming off the bench because you want me to come off the bench, you know? So
Yeah.
I started kind of getting heat for that too as well. And so I definitely can relate to it for sure.
Yeah. Well, as long as like you said, you were doing your thing, you're playing ball, like that's what you're there to do. So it doesn't matter what you come wearing. You can wear whatever you want as long as you're going out there and you're playing.
Exactly. And for me, like fashion comes so easy. Like I don't have to sit out outfits and plan outfits. Like I just think of something and I put it on and that's just what it is. So it's like a creative mind that I have that I'm blessed with. And I'm like, how can you be mad or how can you hate on someone when it's, you know, it comes natural to them? It's not like, oh, I'm losing sleep before a game because I'm trying to think of an outfit to wear. Like it just comes naturally
Exactly.
to me. So
Yeah. And do you think I got a couple few questions? Or do you think tattoos can kind of be part of a fit? Like are tattoos part of an outfit?
oh, for sure. Like
Yeah?
I never used to wear shorts, like because I'm
Mm-hmm.
always cold. But after I started getting my leg sleeve, I want to wear shorts all the time because I want to show off my tattoos. So it's like part
Yeah.
of fashion. It's part of a fit to me for sure.
And
Most
so do
definitely.
you prefer like leg sleeves or arm sleeves? Are you like what do you kind of rock with more? I know you got both, but what do you if you had to choose one?
As far as the tattoo,
Yeah,
leg sleeves for sure. Like it's my
leg
favorite.
sleeves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel
Like
like
in the
leg
winter,
sleeves are super
in the
tough.
cold weather, I'll wear some shorts and I have on a hoodie and a jacket. Just like
Hmm.
you said, like it's part of my fit. Like I got like why you got on shorts? Like, my whole leg is tatted. And I get
Yeah.
super compliments on my leg sleeve all the time. I feel like
Yeah.
everyone has an arm sleeve.
Hmm.
Um, but now I feel like more people are starting to get leg sleeves.
Agreed. I feel like it's starting to switch. And when I do like polls and stuff and I kind of ask that, you're starting to see where it used to be like, oh, why would you get tatted on your leg? Now it's like,
Yeah.
leg sleeves are tough because you got on the short shorts and you got your whole leg tatted. Like,
Yeah.
it looks fire.
Fire. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, last couple questions here, but how many tattoos, if you had to throw out a number, do you think you have?
Hundreds. I stopped counting years ago at 60.
Okay.
So, and I didn't have my sleeves at that point when I counted.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know. Definitely hundreds for sure.
That's wild. And are
Yeah.
you just gonna keep going? Is this like, are you just till the day you die getting tatted?
I wouldn't say to the day I'm dying because now that I'm getting older, the pain is getting a little tougher. But
Okay.
there
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
some more pieces that I am planning to get.
Okay.
So like right now, my next appointment is February. Like that's how backed
Okay.
up my dude is. And that was because
Yeah.
someone
Damn. Oh, so you got boosted up a little bit, but it's
yeah.
still, months out.
It's
Yeah.
still
That's
months out.
wild.
Exactly.
And then this is a question I ask everyone that's been on the show is, if you could give me a number, how much do you think you've spent on your tattoos?
Definitely thousands. I
Yeah.
don't e- I don't e- I don't even know a number. Uh it's a good question. It makes me think like damn. Hmm, I don't know.
You think over or under 10?
I
10K.
was gonna say like 10.
10. Okay.
Because there are people that are like, and I don't like to discredit anyone's work, but it's like you ask them a price and they give you a crazy number, and I'm like, bro, like I'm way too tatted. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know the time and what it takes, and it's just certain things that I'm not paying for. But
Yeah.
my guys that I go to are pretty decent, with their pricing. So, but it's been places like when I was overseas in Turkey or Israel, and I'm just dying for a tat, and they're like, "Oh, it's 250 for a tat this big," and it's like, really, bro? But in that
Yeah.
moment when you really want it, it's like you pay for it.
Yeah.
So I probably
You got
done
to
some
just get
dumb
it.
things like that before. So yeah, I'll say like
Hmm.
10 for sure.
That's dope. All right, man. That's it for us. I'm so happy you came on. I appreciate you coming on. Such a dope conversation. Like I said, I view you as like, such a pioneer in the tag game. So to have this conversation was awesome for me. I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I'm excited to see what you get going. What happens in February with the session you got.
Yeah.
So we'll stay tuned to all your work.
Oh, for sure. Thank you so much for the love always, and I appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you for coming on.